of Football Business, Mzwandile Maforvane, joining us on the line from Orlando in a few moments' time. Ben, we'll start with you. I speak about how this is setting a very dangerous precedent from a COSAFA member. But if you read between the lines here, this really is the rest of Africa saying enough is enough for South Africa. And how vitally embarrassing is this on behalf of SAFA and Bafana Bafana and South Africa?
Mark, thank you first of all for having me. This is embarrassing. This is bad for SAFA. This is bad for South Africa and South African football. The last thing SAFA needed, actually, because you wonder whether from here, what happens is the rest of COSAFA going to be isolating South Africa in light of what has been happening in Johannesburg. But it's really something that Denny didn't need, especially. You'll remember that, was it last year when he was vying for the position of being a member of the FIFA Council, the head table of football globally. And he was beaten to that position by Walter Nyamilandu purely because the rest of Africa felt like South Africa have this delusions of grandeur because Denny didn't vote for Morocco when the World Cup bid, the 2026. He went with the American bid, the joint bid of Canada, USA, and Mexico. But it wasn't Denny's call even then. It was the government of South Africa that had said, we don't eat from the same plate as Morocco. So there's no way we're going to vote for them to have the World Cup. And they isolated Denny from everything. And now it looks like he's starting to warm his way back in. He's recently been installed as a CAF vice president. So you feel like this is one step forward, two steps backward for him and SAFA.
All right, well, let's then jump onto the line. Mzwandile, I hope you can hear me speaking to us from Orlando Stadium in Johannesburg. Meant to be enjoying his night, watching Banyana in their Olympic qualifier. Mzwandile, thank you for your time tonight. I suggested to Ben now that this is indeed a very embarrassing moment for South African football, for South Africans in general. But this is an incredibly strong stance taken by the Zambian Football Association.
Thanks, Mark. Good evening also to your viewers at home. I think we need to agree that this is not a good for not only for football, but for every South African. Because one might think that this is affecting football, but you have to think about the South Africans who are working in Zambia, the South Africans who are working in Nigeria and other countries that might find themselves having to be chased away from those countries where they are actually earning salaries or making any means to make for their economy, for their homes. But we need to indicate as SAFA that we are actually against and we condemn, totally we condemn this violence that is taking place in our country, as we believe that is against the principles and even the words that were once said by our icon, former President Nelson Mandela, where he said sport can bring unity. You know what happened during the apartheid, but we are able to witness the crowd assembling at Ellis Park when rugby was playing in 1995, which was a sign that said only two sports that you can be able to bring those that are not working together to come and understand one another.
Now, Mzwandile, there's no denying that there was loads of excitement around Molefe Nseke coming in and starting his tenure against Zambia this coming weekend. I have been seeing on various social media sites, on various WhatsApp groups as well, suggestions that there is a replacement that is lined up for South Africa. Can you confirm whether or not a match will indeed take place? I've been hearing about a potential game against Madagascar on the cards.
There is a potential game against Madagascar. We have been engaging with them, with the possibility of them coming over to South Africa so that we can play. And we believe we're going to use that match as well to show people that what they are doing really cannot be tolerated, because it's through sport that we can be able to see even our players going abroad, playing overseas, where we can see ourselves being able to assemble good teams that are coming in order to meet. We have players that are coming from abroad that are coming to South Africa specifically to play football. So therefore, if this what is happening really will harm and affect the football in our country and in our continent, they must understand that this is not good for anybody to tolerate it.
Mzwandile, it's great that we're in conversation with Madagascar to try and arrange a replacement match, but is there fears from SAFA that the rest of Africa may potentially follow suit?
There is a fear, as we need also to engage with our government. We're looking at using that game against Madagascar to bring confidence to everybody who is in the continent to say, as football, really, there are things that we are beyond our own control. So therefore, whilst we deal with the matter, we need to understand that we don't need to isolate those people that are trying to bring unity, and also that are trying to make sure that we address all the challenges that we are envisaging as humans, the challenges that we are envisaging as children. It's either they can be economical, social, or politically, but we must make use of the sport to unite such people.
All right, Mzwandile, I will leave it there for you tonight. I know you're a busy man. I have no doubt that the phone will continue to ring off the hook. Mzwandile Maforvane, the acting SAFA General Manager for Football Business, joining us live on the line from Orlando in Johannesburg. Mzwandile, thank you. Ben, back to you. You hear it there from SAFA, from the proverbial horse's mouth, that there is a fear that Africa may well follow suit. Yeah. We hope that there may well be a fixture against Madagascar, but you often get the impression that if and when one country is strong enough and brave enough to stand up to this, that others might say, well, actually, we want to follow suit as well. Could we be seeing South Africa? Could we be seeing... You have just joined us now. The news breaking this evening is that South Africa's friendly match against Zambia this weekend has been called off. The official line as to why the match has been called off: in view of the prevailing security concerns in South Africa. I know you've been watching Newsroom Africa over the last few days, and you've been taking a look at what has been coming through on the various news broadcasts and the type of xenophobic behavior that has been taking place in and around Johannesburg, and to see exactly how and why that is now affecting outside factors, including football. What does this then do, you feel, Benji, for the mindset of Moleque Nsefi? This is something that certainly doesn't, you know, perhaps involve him personally, but when it comes to a professional point of view, this was meant to be the big moment. This was the unveiling. This is the job that he's been hunting for over a decade, many suggest, and now you finally get given the opportunity. And then he may well see that be taken away from him. That's if and when Madagascar does not happen. Does that take the wind out of his... Well, the ship here from SAFA. Plenty more on this story, as you can imagine, will unfold tonight and, of course, on Breaking Dawn tomorrow throughout the rest of the day here on Newsroom Africa. We'll have more for you right here on 405.
Okay. Uyazi futhi ngifaka umuntu oyindlebe ngizomosha.
Good evening, Mamba Tabile.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm all right, how are you?